Amara, a young woman cursed with the power to give birth to babies every day without a husband, embarks on a desperate quest to uncover the truth behind her family's dark history. With the help of her brave friend Decca, they discover that an ancient betrayal by Amara's ancestor has angered the spirits, binding her lineage to this unbearable fate. As they confront the spirit walker in a hidden valley, Amara must offer not only the stolen amulet but also her heart, seeking forgiveness and redemption to break the curse that has haunted her family for generations. Will she succeed in restoring peace between her people and the spirits, or will the darkness of her past consume them all? A long time ago, in a small African village called Zuba, a woman named Amara lived alone at the edge of the forest. Amara was known for her beauty and kindness, but she carried a heavy burden. Despite not being married, she gave birth to babies every single day. This mysterious event became the talk of the village. Was it magic? Was it a curse? No one knew, but they couldn't stop wondering how such a thing was possible. Amara's hut sat near the towering baobab trees, with its walls made from mud and thatched with palm leaves. Every morning, when the sun painted the sky with golden hues, villagers would pass by her home, hearing the cries of newborns inside. But none of these babies stayed, they vanished before the next day came. Each evening, she would sit by her fire, rocking the latest infant in her arms, only for the child to disappear by sunrise. She was heartbroken, yet powerless to stop the strange occurrences. One day, young Decca, the village hunter, saw her walking to the river. He noticed her carrying a newborn swaddled in bright kente cloth, his eyes wide with curiosity. Decca couldn't help but follow her, wondering how a woman without a husband could keep having babies. The villagers said no man ever visited her at night, and yet, the babies kept coming. At the riverbank, as Amara bent to wash the child, Decca gathered his courage and approached. "Amara," he called gently. "How do you give birth to babies every day? How is this happening?" Amara sighed deeply, her face weary. "I do not know," she replied. "Each night, I feel the pain of childbirth, and a baby is born. But by morning, they are gone." Decca frowned. "That's not natural. Have you spoken to the village elders?" Amara shook her head. "They won't believe me. They think I am hiding something." Decca looked at the baby in her arms, a peaceful little girl wrapped in intricate patterns of the kente fabric. "I'll help you," he said determinedly. "We will find out what's going on." That night, Decca returned to Amara's home, sitting by her fire as she prepared for yet another mysterious birth. As the moon climbed high into the sky, the same pattern repeated. Amara cried out in pain, and soon, a new baby boy was born. But just before the first rays of dawn, something extraordinary happened. The baby dissolved into thin air, leaving no trace behind. Decca was shocked. "What kind of sorcery is this?" Amara's eyes were filled with tears. "I don't know, but I feel it's tied to a curse placed on me long ago." Determined to uncover the truth, Decca decided to visit Nana Afia, the oldest and wisest woman in the village. Nana Afia lived in a small hut at the base of the mountains, surrounded by herbs and ancient symbols. When Decca arrived, she welcomed him with a knowing smile. "I've been expecting you," Nana Afia said. "You seek answers for Amara, don't you?" Decca nodded. "Do you know why she is cursed to give birth to babies every day?" Nana Afia's expression grew serious. "Many years ago, before Amara was born, her mother offended a powerful spirit that roamed these lands. That spirit cursed her bloodline, and now Amara must pay the price. Until the curse is broken, she will continue to give birth to babies that disappear with the morning sun." "Is there a way to break the curse?" Decca asked anxiously. "There is," Nana Afia replied. "But it will not be easy. The spirit lives deep in the heart of the forest, in a hidden cave. Amara must face the spirit herself, armed only with the truth in her heart. She must confess her pain, her loneliness, and ask for forgiveness." Decca returned to Amara with Nana Afia's words heavy in his heart. He told her what he had learned, and though she was afraid, Amara knew it was her only chance at freedom. She agreed to go, and together, they set out for the forest the next morning. As they journeyed deeper into the forest, the trees grew taller and thicker, blocking out the sun. The air became cool and damp, and strange whispers floated on the wind. After what felt like hours, they reached the entrance of the cave, hidden behind a waterfall. Amara hesitated. What if the spirit won't forgive me? Decca squeezed her hand. You must try. It's the only way. Stealing her courage, Amara stepped into the cave, her kente cloth trailing behind her. The walls were covered in ancient markings, and at the center of the cave sat the spirit, a shadowy figure with glowing eyes, surrounded by a cold mist. The spirit's voice echoed around the cave. Why have you come, Amara? Amara fell to her knees. I've come to seek your forgiveness. I have suffered under this curse, and I don't understand why. Please, lift this burden from me. The spirit's eyes flickered. The curse was placed on your bloodline for the betrayal of my trust. But you have shown bravery by coming here. I will give you a choice. You can lift the curse, but you must give up something precious to you. Amara trembled. What must I give up? Your voice, the spirit replied. You will no longer speak, but the curse will be broken, and you will no longer give birth to babies every day. Amara felt a lump rise in her throat. Her voice was all she had left, her only way of expressing herself in the world. But the thought of living without the endless cycle of childbirth was too much to bear. She nodded. I will give up my voice. The spirit waved its hand, and suddenly, Amara felt a sharp pain in her throat. She tried to speak, but no sound came out. The spirit smiled. The curse is lifted. Now go. Amara returned to the village in silence, her heart both heavy and light. She could no longer speak, but the mysterious births had stopped. Decca stood by her side, vowing to help her communicate in other ways. Together, they faced the challenges ahead, knowing that they had defeated the darkness that once haunted her life. Despite her newfound silence, Amara became even more beloved by the villagers, who marveled at her strength and resilience. And though her journey had cost her something precious, she gained something even more valuable, the freedom to live her life without fear. And with Decca by her side, Amara knew that even in silence, her heart would always be heard. But little did she know, the spirit's influence was not entirely gone, and a new challenge would soon test everything she had fought for. In the months that followed, Amara found peace in her daily life. No more babies appeared mysteriously, and she no longer had to explain the strange events to the villagers. Though she could no longer speak, her presence spoke volumes, and her actions showed a strength that inspired everyone around her. Decca stood by her side as her closest friend and protector. They would often go on walks through the village, with Amara using hand gestures and expressions to communicate. She learned to use symbols drawn in the dirt, to share her thoughts, and Decca would help her whenever the villagers had questions. One morning, as the golden sun rose over the village, Amara noticed something unusual. A soft, eerie wind blew through the trees, carrying with it a familiar whisper. It was the same voice she had heard in the cave, the spirit's voice. Panic filled her chest, but before she could gesture for help, a dark figure appeared at the edge of the forest. It was a tall man, cloaked in shadows, but his eyes glowed just like the spirit's. The villagers froze in fear as he approached, his voice low and powerful. I have returned to claim what is mine. Amara's heart pounded. What did this new figure mean? Had the spirit sent him? Decca stepped forward, holding his spear tightly. Who are you? And what do you want from Amara? The figure smirked. I am the spirit walker, the one who enforces the will of the spirits. Amara may have lifted her curse, but there is still a price to be paid. Amara's eyes widened in horror. She had given up her voice, wasn't that enough? What more could the spirits want from her? The spirit walker's gaze fixed on her. The spirits have decided that your sacrifice was not enough. You must now leave the village and live in the wilderness, far from the people you love." Tears welled up in Amara's eyes. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. After everything she had been through, after all her suffering, they still wanted to take more from her. Decca's face hardened. "You can't do this. Amara has done nothing wrong." She gave up her voice as the spirit asked, "Isn't that enough?" The spirit walker shook his head slowly. "The spirits are not satisfied. They demand that she be separated from this land, or the curse will return in an even more terrible form." Amara fell to her knees, silently pleading for mercy. She didn't want to leave her home, her people, and especially Decca, who had been her only comfort through all this hardship. That night, Decca and Amara sat together by the fire, trying to think of a way to fight back. Decca knew there had to be another way to stop the spirits, but time was running out. The villagers were growing anxious, and whispers of fear spread like wildfire. "We can't let them take you away," Decca signed to Amara. "There must be something we haven't tried." Amara stared into the fire, her mind racing. She knew the spirit walker was powerful, but maybe there was another way, something deeper in the spirit world that could help them. If only she could communicate with the spirits directly, without the interference of the spirit walker. Suddenly, she had an idea. She pointed toward the forest and then drew a circle in the dirt with her finger. Decca watched her carefully. "You want to go back to the cave?" Amara nodded. She believed that if she returned to the cave where the original curse was cast, she could find the answers she needed. The spirits had made her silent, but maybe they could still listen to her thoughts, her heart. The next morning, Amara and Decca set off once again into the forest. The path was even darker than before, as if the forest itself was resisting their journey. Strange animal calls echoed through the trees, and the wind howled in unnatural patterns. But Amara was determined. She wouldn't let the spirits take everything from her. As they approached the waterfall that hid the entrance to the cave, Decca noticed something strange. The water, once crystal clear, had turned black and oily. The cave's entrance was almost invisible behind the thick fog that rolled out of it. "We must be close," Decca whispered, gripping his spear tightly. "Stay close to me." Inside the cave, the air was thick with tension. The same symbols glowed faintly on the walls, and the atmosphere felt heavy, as if 1,000 eyes were watching them. Amara walked to the center of the cave, where she had faced the spirit before, and knelt on the ground, closing her eyes. She focused all her energy on sending her thoughts to the spirits. "Why are you doing this?" she thought desperately. "I have already given you my voice. What more do you want from me?" The cave grew colder, and suddenly, the same shadowy spirit appeared before them, its glowing eyes fixed on Amara. "You return," the spirit said, its voice echoing through the cave. "Why do you defy our will?" Amara opened her eyes and looked at the spirit, her thoughts sharp and clear. "I have given you everything I had. I gave up my voice to break the curse. I do not understand why you want more. Is there no end to your demands?" The spirit's form shifted, flickering like a flame in the wind. "The sacrifice of your voice was not enough. The curse was placed on your bloodline for betrayal. It cannot be undone so easily." Amara clenched her fists, frustrated by her inability to speak. "But I didn't betray anyone. My ancestors may have, but I am innocent. Why must I pay for their mistakes?" For the first time, the spirit seemed to hesitate. Its glowing eyes dimmed slightly, and its voice softened. "You are right. You did not commit the betrayal. But the curse is bound to your bloodline until it is properly atoned for." Amara's mind raced. "What must I do?" The spirit stared at her for a long moment. "You must find the one who betrayed me, the one responsible for your curse. Only when the truth is revealed, and justice is served, will the curse be lifted forever." Decca, who had been silently watching, stepped forward. "How do we find this person? They must have lived long ago." The spirit's gaze flickered between them. "The answers lie in the past, but the past is never truly gone. Seek the wisdom of those who remember, and you will find your way." With that, the spirit vanished, leaving Amara and Decca alone in the cave once again. Amara felt a glimmer of hope. For the first time, they had a clear path forward, a way to end the curse once and for all. As they made their way back to the village, Decca couldn't help but smile. "We're getting closer. We'll find this betrayer, and then you can finally be free." But Amara knew their journey was far from over. The betrayal had happened long ago, and the truth was buried deep in history. To uncover it, they would need to seek out the oldest stories, the hidden secrets of her ancestors. And in doing so, they might uncover more than they ever expected. The real danger, however, still lurked in the shadows, waiting for them to take the wrong step. In the weeks that followed, Amara and Decca traveled far beyond their village. They sought out elders from distant lands, those who had preserved the stories of old, the keepers of forgotten histories. Each journey revealed fragments of the truth, pieces of a larger puzzle that slowly began to take shape. Through many long days and nights, they learned of an ancient betrayal. Amara's ancestor, a woman named Izina, had been entrusted with a sacred artifact, an amulet gifted by the spirits themselves. This amulet held the power to protect their people and bring prosperity, but Izina, driven by greed, had traded the artifact to a rival village for wealth. The betrayal had angered the spirits, and in their fury, they cursed her bloodline for eternity. Each generation had borne the weight of this curse, though none had known the full story, until now. Amara's heart ached with the knowledge that this terrible burden had been passed down through the generations, but she also felt a surge of determination. Now that she knew the truth, there was a way to make things right. She and Decca would find the amulet, and return it to the spirits, ending the curse once and for all. Their final destination led them to a hidden valley deep in the mountains, where the rival village had once thrived. Now, only ruins remained, the once great settlement reduced to rubble and overgrown with vines. It was here that Izina's betrayal had taken place, and it was here that the amulet had been lost to time. Amara and Decca searched the ruins for days, uncovering hidden chambers and ancient relics. The village had been abandoned long ago, its people scattered, but deep beneath the earth, in a forgotten crypt, they finally found it, the amulet. The artifact was beautiful, its surface shimmering with a soft glow. As Amara reached out to touch it, a strange warmth spread through her fingertips. She could feel the power of the spirits, the weight of generations of suffering, and the hope of redemption all at once. "We've found it," Decca whispered, his voice filled with awe. "Now you can break the curse." But as Amara lifted the amulet from its resting place, the air around them shifted. The ground trembled, and a dark figure materialized before them, the spirit walker. His eyes glowed with fury as he stepped forward, his voice thundering through the cavern. "You dare to claim what is not yours," he bellowed, his presence filling the space with dread. "The curse cannot be undone by mortal hands." Amara's heart raced as she clutched the amulet to her chest. She had come so far, endured so much. She couldn't let the spirit walker stop her now. Decca stepped forward, standing between Amara and the spirit walker. "We know the truth," he said, his voice steady. "The curse was placed because of a betrayal, but Amara is not her ancestor. She has done nothing wrong. Let her return the amulet and end this once and for all." The spirit walker's eyes flickered, and for a moment, he hesitated. Then, with a deep growl, he raised his hand, summoning a swirling storm of dark energy. "The spirits will not be so easily appeased. They demand more than a simple return of what was stolen." Amara felt a surge of desperation. What more could they want? She thought, her mind racing. But then, in the depths of her heart, she understood. The spirits did not just want the amulet, they wanted acknowledgement of the pain that had been caused. They wanted Izina's descendants to take responsibility for the suffering that had followed. And most of all, they wanted an offering of trust, a sign that the bond between the spirits and the people could be restored. With trembling hands, Amara knelt before the spirit walker. She placed the amulet on the ground in front of her, then bowed her head, offering her heart to the spirits in silent prayer. She could not speak, but in her mind, her thoughts were clear. I am sorry for what was done. Please, accept this offering, and let my people be free. For a long moment, there was silence. The storm around them raged, and the spirit walker's eyes blazed with intensity. But then, slowly, the darkness began to fade. The energy in the air shifted, becoming lighter, calmer. The spirit walker's form softened, and his glowing eyes dimmed. The spirits have heard you, he said, his voice no longer filled with anger but with something softer, almost like sorrow. The curse is lifted. Amara's breath caught in her throat as she realized what had just happened. It was over. The curse that had haunted her family for generations was finally broken. Tears filled her eyes, but this time, they were tears of relief. Decca knelt beside her, his hand resting gently on her shoulder. You did it, Amara. It's finally over. The journey back to the village was filled with quiet reflection. Amara's voice was still gone, but her silence no longer felt like a burden. She had found a new way to communicate, with her heart, her actions, and her courage. The village welcomed her back as a hero, and though the memories of the curse still lingered, there was hope for the future. Decca remained by her side, as he had always promised. Together, they rebuilt their lives, knowing that the weight of the past had finally been lifted. And though Amara could not speak, her story would be told for generations to come, a story of bravery, sacrifice, and redemption. As the years passed, the village grew stronger. The bond between the people and the spirits was restored, and Amara's legacy lived on in the hearts of those who remembered her journey. The spirit world no longer haunted her dreams, and the strange occurrences that had once plagued her life became distant memories. In the end, Amara found peace, not just for herself, but for her people, her ancestors, and the spirits who had once demanded so much from her. She had given everything she had, and in return, she had gained something far greater: freedom, understanding, and the knowledge that even the most impossible curses could be broken with love, courage, and faith. The story of Amara, the girl who once couldn't stop giving birth to babies every day without a husband, would be remembered not for the strange events that happened to her, but for the incredible strength she showed in the face of unimaginable challenges. She had faced the spirits and won, not through force but through understanding. And in the end, that was the greatest victory of all. If you enjoyed Amara's captivating journey of courage, redemption, and the struggle against ancient curses, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What did you find most powerful about Amara's quest? Did you relate to her challenges or see a bit of yourself in her determination? Join our community of storytellers and let's keep the conversation going. Click the notification bell so you never miss a tale filled with magic, adventure, and inspiration. Thank you for watching.